Imagine yourself reading a bedtime story to one of your grandchildren. But the difference is, in this storybook, the main character is you. And the stories are your childhood adventures. Now, how fun would that be? So many grandparents that I talk to, and they want to be a meaningful part of their grandchildren's lives. I think, they want to be relevant, and they also want them to know who they are. And so another thing that the grandparents have said to me is, I want to be remembered, and I want my family and my grandchildren, I want them to have enduring memories. And so don't we want to leave that positive legacy? So basically, in GrandConnect speak, to know me is to remember me. And these stories are going to help your grandchildren to know you and therefore to remember you. So we've got a 6-module self-paced course, and it's going to enable you to do just that. So just in case you're thinking, I'm not sure I'll be able to do all that, don't worry, I've got you covered. Because this is what I hear from grandparents. Okay, I just don't think I can remember. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. So we've got some amazing memory booster techniques that seriously will have you remembering so far back to the womb. Another objection is, I was never any good at English or writing at school. I hated it. You are writing now for young children, your grandchildren, and that is a loving, unconditional audience. And the stories are already written. You don't have to make anything up. And we're going to show you some simple writing processes that you won't need to be a novelist or anything like it. All right, now, another objection, I don't have the time. You don't have the time for your grandchildren? And in response to that, I have simplified it as much as possible so that it's a 5-step process that gets you into the flow, so that you're writing, it's quick and you can just do it and enjoy it. So another objection is the technology piece. So I'm probably as technically challenged as any of you, but it's truly amazing what can be done these days with tutorials step by step, and it actually is relatively easy, and that's what we will guide you through. Besides, and here's another level of connection, there's always plenty of young minds amongst your children and your grandchildren who are more than happy to help you. And so really, technology is facilitating you, not holding you back. So let me quickly share a few things that you may not know about me. I'm a published author of 20 novels and children's books. I'm a school teacher, English and history, and I've taught everybody from 5-year-olds right through high school and adults. So I get a fairly clear idea of what holds their attention and what they enjoy. I also have a postgraduate degree in English, and this is with a special focus on connecting cultures through their stories, but focusing on grandparents. So I've been working on this whole concept for a long time, well over 20 years. GrandConnect is the result of a vision I've had long before this was even possible. And it's just been a dream of mine to connect grandparents with their grandchildren. In the writing process, I've done biographies, and I have to say they are valuable literature. But it's largely stories written by older people for older people. And it occurred to me over and over again, we're missing the generation that needs these stories the most. You know, from in those early years, from 1 through 6, 7, children's minds are like sponges and they're taking in everything. And we're missing that opportunity if we don't give these stories to them while they're young and while they're absorbing it. So I know how to help you get this done. Now, the grand students that just completed this course, they created some awesome stories for the grandchildren and for their family. And the characters and the events that emerged and the experiences that as a group we've shared on this journey have been amazing. I've loved it. These grandparents are not only connecting with their grandchildren in a very relevant way, but their stories, the storybooks, are becoming treasured family keepsakes. And not just for now, but for future generations. So, what we're planning is that in no time, as we start on these modules, the young you is going to transform into a very cool main character in a series of children's books. And we're going to turn children's stories that we're going to turn into storybooks. So, just give you a couple of examples. A Kiwi kid called Paul. And here we have a series of stories, 5 stories. Paul chose the illustrator online, and we have a wonderful collection of stories. And then I put together a series of my stories, and for the illustrations, if you look closely, you can see that illustrated by Brooklyn Reed and Pamela Reed. And so I worked with my granddaughter. I did the sketches, she did all the colouring, another level of connection, and that's something that we'll go into on the course as well. So imagine that storybook, imagine bedtime story time, and you'll start to see yourself as this charming, boisterous, curious, maybe even shy, but adventurous character. And you will start to realise that what are seemingly small childhood incidents are actually very important events from a child's perspective. Okay? Small childhood incidents are very important from a child's perspective. You will be writing stories that children, your grandchildren, will relate to. You'll become relevant. And you'll realize that you're being remembered when they start quoting your stories. That is a very cool experience. So Tina, a member of our foundation course, a very busy grandma of 3 from Auckland, New Zealand, said, "I have loved the course. I never in a million years imagined I could write stories." Definitely been one of the best things I did in 2021. So, you know what else is happening too? Besides producing this priceless keepsake for your grandchildren, you're going to have a whole lot of fun doing it. And so, in 2022, I'm taking the GrandConnect concept to the world, the 6-week course, and I'm very excited about it. But before I do that, I promised my friends who wanted to do this, have this opportunity as part of the beta course, that I would provide the course for them. So next year in 2022, the 6-week course is going to be available for $397 US. So up until the end of 2021, I'm going to make the course available for half price. That's $195. So all you need to do is click on the link and use the discount code GRAND. Right, just think GrandConnect, so it's just GRAND. And then once that checkout process is completed, you'll receive all of the course materials and the resources that go with them as well. And then you begin your adventure of becoming the main character in the storybook of your childhood memories. And how cool is that? So Dr. Seuss just a wonderful writer. And a quote, and I think you'll love this, I surely do. Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. So I read that and I just want you to delight in who you are. What you've become and what you can become as the main character in these stories that you share. And so taking Dr. Seuss as the foundation and using a little bit of a poetic license, I added a bit. Yesterday you were you, that is truer than true. But your grandchildren are growing and they need the young you. Your grandchildren are growing up in a vastly different world, but they need the same life skills and principles that you needed when you were their age. You need to share these stories. Tomorrow you'll be you. That is truer than true. And your stories will remain long after you do. Keep reaching and teaching them through your characters' stories all the things that you want them to know, so that when they remember you, they remember what matters most to you and what you stand for. So to know me is to remember me. Happy grand connecting.